All right, my name is Reverend T. I am the unrefined priest, and today we're going to be talking about the church shooting that took place yesterday at a Mormon Church in Michigan. And I know a lot of the conversation has immediately jumped to an attack on Christianity. I think that that's probably the most likely scenario, that this is part of an ongoing attack against Christianity. But I did want to leave open the possibility that it might be something different. It may very well be just an isolated attack of one individual angry at one particular church and not Christianity as a whole. And I'm doing that because as of right now, the motive has not been revealed. But there could be a motive of somebody in the church was stealing money and the guy got angry. There could be the motive of somebody's kids got screwed around with and this guy got angry. It could be the motive of somebody slept with somebody's wife and this guy got angry. Those are all possibilities, and unfortunately they do happen in the church. With that said, I do think that this is most likely the continuation of an attack against Christianity that you're seeing in the country. And for Christians, I think that this needs to be a moment for us to say, are we prepared? Are we prepared at church? Are we safe? Have we secured things as much as we can? Because part of what makes this attack so scary is, how do you prepare for something like this? This is a bit different than what we've seen in the past, where people go in and they open fire, or recently where they were outside and they opened fire. This is a different animal. And how do you actually prepare for that? So we're going to talk about that on the other end of this video. But I did want to play a clip just kind of detailing what has taken place so far, what we know. We do know that there are 4 dead, there are 8 wounded, and 1 church completely burnt to the ground. We do know that the individual responsible for this, his name is Thomas Jacob Sanford, lived about 10 minutes from the church. So that we do know. But outside of that, like motive and things like that, we just don't know. But let me jump in, play this clip, and then share with you why I think that this is such a concerning event. Even more so than the other recent events that we've experienced in the church.
Heard a loud bang.
Living out here, you just don't hear about things like that.
To have it in your front yard, in your backyard, like right across the street.
My coworkers attend there, their children attend there, our family attends there.
As I'm coming home, I could see like the black cloud just hovering over my neighborhood.
It's just a very, very somber feeling. You just knew something was bad.
I just put pedal to the metal to try to get out, and that's when he started shooting at our vehicle.
Terror and tears in Grand Blanc. An attack at a church leaves 4 victims dead, many others hurt, and a nation shaken. Horror and heartbreak after an attack rattles a community on a seemingly peaceful Sunday morning. Hello and welcome to Fox 2 News at 10. I'm Dave Spencer. At least 2 people are shot and killed. Another 2 bodies found in a burnt-out church. The shooter is dead, 8 more shot and wounded, and still others unaccounted for. We have live team coverage of today's attacks. Fox 2's Camila Miri, Hillary Golston, and Roop Raj, all covering this story from every angle. It started this morning in Grand Blanc in Genesee County. People packing into a church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, a Mormon church, for Sunday morning service. And then a crash, gunshots, and a fire. We begin tonight. Fox 2's Camila Miri has been following this story all day and into the night. She's live tonight outside the shooter's house with the very latest from...
All right, let me just jump in right there and say, first of all, if there are unaccounted people and you already found people that were burned in the church, I mean, that's a horrific scenario that you're looking at there. It's most likely you're going to find more people, in my opinion. But The other thing that they brought up is this is not just a shooting. This is not just a burning of the church. This is not just running a truck into the church. This is all three. And I think that this creates a scenario that is kind of a nightmare scenario for how do you prepare for something like this. You can prepare for somebody attempting to burn down the church. You can prepare for somebody attempting to run a vehicle into the church. You can prepare for somebody shooting at a church. But all three taking place in this one event really does, in my opinion, show that there are real weaknesses in how churches have prepared for this sort of thing and how you can prepare for this sort of thing. Because this is like the worst case scenario that you can imagine, because the fire is preventing police officers from entering in. The shooter is preventing the fire department from entering in. And you've got a lot of chaos with alarms going off and smoke. And I'm just at a loss for how you actually would be able to prevent something like this, or to minimize the effect of something like this. And what sort of plans you could put in place that would be able to address all three of these events happening in one scenario. So it does create a very difficult, it does make it very difficult for the church to figure out how do we go forward safely, feeling as though we've addressed everything that we need to address. So let me keep rolling with this video here.
Investigators.
Yeah, we are outside his home in Burton. We're about 12 or so miles away, I should say, from the church where this all happened. I want you to take a look at some video. I think you summed it up really well, but this was just a horrific set of circumstances, one horrible thing after another. Police say that it was 10:25 this morning when 40-year-old Thomas Jacob Sanford, that is the identified gunman by police, drove his vehicle into the Church of Latter-day Saints in Grand Blanc and then started shooting. They say that he started a fire using accelerants and they believe explosives. Altogether, 10 people shot, 2 of them confirmed deceased, and then later they found 2 people deceased from the subsequent fire. Now, the suspect was taken out by police at 10:33 a.m. The suspect was neutralized, as police say. There were 2 police officers on scene 32 seconds after he drove through that church. Police trying to figure out exactly how they were there so quickly. Were they parishioners? That is still trying to be determined and figured out. There's still a lot of unanswered questions. So at this press conference at 8 o'clock, we learned that there were 2 people, additional victims, deceased. So altogether, a total of 4, not including the shooter, who were found, those 2 people found dead in the church, believed to be overcome by fumes or smoke or flames because a lot of people couldn't get out. Now, there are still some people that are unaccounted for that may still be in there, that may not have gotten out. Police have talked about how they were, some people trapped inside. This was a 4-alarm fire, a huge blaze that went up so quickly that some people just unfortunately, tragically, were not able to get out. I want you to listen to what the police chief of Grand Blanc Township had to say. And then also, we talked to some people out here in Burton who live nearby the shooter. Take a listen.
Our thoughts and prayers go out to the victims of this incident that could have been completely avoided. And it's very tragic, and that's not what our community is. I'm confident that we're going to overcome this, as Grand Blanc always overcomes these type of incidents. I'd also like to acknowledge the heroism of not only the first responders, but the people who were inside that church at the time. They were shielding the children who were also present within the church, moving them to safety. Just hundreds of people just practicing their faith. Just extreme courage, brave, And that's the type of community that we are.
It's just unbelievable. I didn't know the guy. I seen maybe once or twice, seen a gentleman bringing the trash to the front. Other than that, nothing. I don't know anything about him.
So obviously they've connected him to what happened at the church this morning, which is a really sad thing. I spoke with somebody in the parking lot a little bit earlier that's supposedly pretty good friends with him, which I do believe because of the emotions the guy was showing, that this guy was a stand-up guy and would do things for anybody.
It's just unbelievable. You never know what a person is going through, and you never know.
All right, I'm going to stop it right there and just say, look, for me, this was a former Marine. Just hearing the stories of what he did, this feels personal to me. This feels like more than just an attack on Christianity. It feels as though he had a personal problem with that particular church. Now, I don't know, but just hearing what he did, how he did it, it feels different to me. So it may very well be that this is just another attack on Christianity in that line. But to me, without knowing the motive, it does feel personal to me. It feels as though he wanted that church burned to the ground. He wanted those people to suffer because of a personal issue that he had with those people. He's not just opening fire on people. He's doing more than that. He is annihilating that church. So it could turn out, again, that he has no personal experience with that church and that he is just targeting Christians because he's angry at Christians. But it does feel personal to me. It feels like he had a personal agenda against that church, and who knows why. But again, this is very difficult to figure out how do you guard against this. But I think that every church right now needs to be putting plans in place, looking at what they can do to better keep the people in their congregations safe. There is something that is going on in this country where you are seeing what used to be regarded as sacred space no longer has that. And now people feel free to attack the church. And the church has to respond because we have had that kind of freedom to be a sacred place, knowing that, most people are not going to attack a church. I think those days are gone. I think churches, boards of churches, clergy need to sit down and figure out what is the plans that we need to make our people safe, and they need to make it a priority. This is not a one-off. This has been happening, and this is another example of it. So trying to figure out how to prevent something like this is very, very difficult, though. So I wish churches well in their plans. Certainly we'll be praying for the church as a whole, that we can figure out how to move forward without doing, certain things that churches don't want to do. Churches don't want to have armed security at the church. That's what we just don't. And so if that's where you got to go, that's where you got to go. But figuring out where the threat level is and then making adjustments is what the church really needs to be focused on right now. So again, my name is Reverend T. I am the Unrefined Priest. If you like what I'm doing, hit that like button as well as the subscribe button, and I'll catch you on the next one. Hopefully it's a little more uplifting.